on Big Slung Gamers? It is Spencer, and today we're going to be going over the Vanguard field upgrades that the game just released. We got to go over them right now, but before we get into that, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that cool nonsense. You know how this goes. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Speaking of that, shout out to Ali Gamer, also that one guy, and you know, alongside with that, we're going to be shouting out the big homie Frito Beats and Nicholas Lindsay. They subscribe to me, and if you do, I'll shout you out. Yes, you, the big homie, but unlike gamers, let's get it. Okay, so our first field upgrade out of the 4 is going to be Energy Mine, and actually in this game it is fairly well. I do like this one quite a bit rather than Cold War. I mean, it does a lot of damage, and in specific areas, you know, considering there's no round-based map right now, like maps like Shino Numa and also that little spawnish room where you can get stamina up, it is really good because it will take out large groups of enemies, and also the armored shooting boss who just sprays his ammo and just absolutely destroys you. So he's really good for this, is really good for little crowded contained areas. There's no upgrades on it, so you just kind of just put it down, and you can kind of put it in the back and let it chill there, and you know, you can maybe run back to it if you need a little bit of help. But this is going to give you, it's going to give you a lot of extra, I don't know, protection, I think is the best word to say, because once enemies step in this, just even near it, just one, it'll blow them to little itty bitty pieces. If you like the dynamite in this game, this is a really good representation of that, and if you want, you can expand upon that, and you get a lot of extra damage with it, and you can camp with it. Now our next one is going to be Ether Shroud, and in this game, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of caca water. You know, we live in the part where these aren't upgradable. Like you only see this little clouded smoke for about maybe 4 to 5 seconds, and after that it is gone. When I was playing this, I was like, oh yeah, it will be fine, and then the zombies started smacking me. I don't know what I was thinking, but Ether Shroud in this game, at least for this time being, unless they, you know, add upgrades and stuff, Ether Shroud is definitely going to need a buff, or you know, something along those lines, because it is really just hot dog water, and I almost died because, you know, like, once again, I thought I was gonna have it. It does kind of recover quickly, but at the same time, other things like the Energy Mine are kind of better, to be honest. It's kind of sad to think, but the actual Energy Mine is better than Ether Shroud in this game, and it's definitely, like I said, it's got to get that buff. Now our next is going to be Ring of Fire, and you know, they kind of nerfed it up in this game. I don't know if it was just me. It is kind of round 8, and I do have the MP40 out, Pack-a-Punch 1. Granted, I do have Deadshot Daiquiri, just kind of tier 3, so you know, you kind of get a good picture. But Ring of Fire, it has no upgrades in this game, so if you are uncertain with that, that means you don't get that stockpile effect. That doesn't, you know, no insta-kill effect, none of that extra damage. It can't block out enemy bullets in zombies now, which is a little bit odd to say, but it doesn't, and it has none of the upgrades. So realistically, it's kind of dependent on the situation as well. You can say the same about all of these, but really, I mean, this is where it really hits hard, because Ring of Fire, you're sitting in a little proximity. You're not being able to run around, and I don't know if you guys have played this mode yet, but the zombies get faster, they get stronger. They're definitely going to be pushing you out unless you got a really good weapon. If you do have a tier 3 weapon, this will be actually pretty fairly solid. I mean, it's definitely not the best, and it could be better. I'm really sad to say that Ring of Fire is kind of just meh. All the field upgrades are kind of just meh, so if you're thinking about them, like which one's the best, it really comes down to preference at the end of the day, because like we have in Cold War, you know, we have a lot of upgrades, damages, and all that nonsense. But Ring of Fire is just, I would definitely say Energy Mine feels a little bit on the better side. Ring of Fire is pretty good, but I mean, as you can see just with this gameplay, I mean, I'm doing perfectly fine without it. I'm able to do quite a bit of damage. I mean, even this little pistol is doing a little bit more than I would averagely do with, say, just like, you know, other weapon, just because it has really high critical damage. But with Ring of Fire, you know, it kind of stacks on top of that. As you can see, I can get behind this tree right now. I can just pop it. I don't stand in it because I'm an idiot sandwich, but I slowly realize, and then I quickly jump into it, and you can kind of see somewhat of a difference. I mean, it's only about like 450 extra damage, and you know, at the end of the day, that's really not that much. It's round 8, granted, but at the same time, it's like it could be a lot higher, and the damage doesn't increase because you don't have that tier 5 ability. You don't have any tier abilities, and it just kind of just is meh, if that makes sense. Like, it's all right. Like, it's nothing out of this park, and you might be wondering, why do you keep blabbering on about this? Aren't we supposed to get to the 4th and final one? I just kind of want to stress this, because it's just crazy how good Ring of Fire is in Cold War, but in this game, it's like it adds just a tad bit of damage, just like maybe like a maybe like a quarter or a half of extra damage that you normally do, which it is kind of a lot, and I am using a pistol, so I might be representing this bad, but it's just meh. Now our final and last one is going to be Frost Blast, and honestly, it's just all right. It's kind of like Energy Mine, but it doesn't kill as much. It is round 2, and you know there's not gonna be very much zombies, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't last very long. Energy Mine, on the other hand, it just kind of blows them away and does a little bit more damage, and it seems like it has like a shrapnel effect, has more range, and you know, Frost Blast, it's like it's just all right. It kind of acts like Cryo Freeze if you wanted to have like a little mini like grenade of it. It lasts for literally 2 seconds. So I mean, if you think, you know, you can outlast this thing, I'm sorry to tell you, but this thing is just absolutely just, it's just you know, I would never stress using this, mainly because it's just there. You know, it was just there also in Cold War, and in Vanguard, you know, we only have 4, and considering the fact this thing barely works, I mean, granted, it might work better if you're in a high capacity area and it's really small and say you're escorting. It might be nice for then, but as of the moment right now, it's just it just needs a buff. A couple of these need to be tuned. Granted, I can't really blame them because, you know, Vanguard was really rushed, but I mean, it just needs every one of these kind of need a little bit of patching and a little bit of fixing up, because they aren't really essentially like essential, which is, I mean, it's kind of nice to have them just as a perk, but they don't really work so well, and it's kind of like you're like, oh snap, I have my field upgrade that's finally available, I didn't even realize, kind of thing. And they recover pretty quick, and it's understandable. But yeah, that about sums it up. If you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe, all that cool nonsense. Check out the links in the description, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.